You are live. It says right on my screen. All right. Hi, everybody. It's Betty from Awakened Possibilities. Sandy and I are back today, Friday. And we are talking about psychic attacks, cording, and protection. And there was one other thing on the list. What was it?
Emotional trauma, releasing the emotional trauma for this period of time, this year, these months. There's a lot coming up that can be released from this in past lives and different dimensions.
Yes. And you know, when I was, I think I mentioned it to you, when I was watching Mark Atwood, one of the interesting things that Joanne said, the dragon lady, if anybody's wondering, is, she had to spend time gathering up her, like the bits of her soul that she's left in traumatic situations. So even that, bringing that back, making ourselves whole so we're ready to move to the next level.
And I don't see it. I understand the concept. And sometimes you can do a meditation and you're walking on a path and you're walking on the path of your life and you see different things that happen and you find a soul fragment and you bring it, you integrate it back in. So I've done those meditations as well. I'm also of the opinion, because all our DNA is not activated. It might be here and might not, but there's trapped emotions in all the strands of DNA. So an associate of mine, James, and I went through the one time. And I think it was he who came up with it and said that he checked he wrote down a list, numbers 1 to 12. And then he put 2 slots beside each of the strands of DNA and said, is there a trapped emotion in this dimension? So it doesn't mean we can't clear some of it on this dimension, although we don't know what it is yet. We don't know the true cause of it, maybe. So there's so much we can do.
And the kicker is it could be from a past life, because if it's in our DNA, it could be from a past life, it could be
future life, parallel life.
Exactly.
Time, space, dimension. Yeah.
And it can come from somebody else. It can come through the family line too, because you're getting your DNA from that as well, depending on exactly where it is. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. Glad you could join us. I know. So it's important to understand that we don't have all the information. So it's great that everybody puts all their little pieces out, but it's so important, as you and I've always said, to trust yourself.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, I thought that was really interesting, because I never thought of that concept, actually.
I don't get everybody's soul back. If you get 90% of it back in this timeline, you're doing all right. And sometimes 4% of mine is always gone. It's always like, I got to go see what's next. And I'm like, come on back. And they're like, seriously? So they're out scouting part of my soul. That's just the personality I have on other dimensions, whether it's in dream state, whether it's here. So everybody has a different take on how much of your soul is actually in your body.
Well, I would think that not all, all right. So we live, if you look at the timelines, and that we could be living, everything is at once. So our past lives are actually possibly happening right this second. So there's a part of you there. You've got your higher self. You've got a piece of you there. So there's,
you can call it in, but if you don't know what it is, you're not seeing what's landing. That's just where I'm at with it. Just where I'm at with the work I'm doing.
I think her purpose was, it was the stuff that you left behind here on this plane at this
in this lifetime,
the traumas that you've experienced, and left a piece of yourself there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want to go through first? You want to go through the emotional trauma? And I took notes from what she says. She's a lot of great points with that. And I took notes of what she's saying. And we're going to go through a lot of this anyways.
I would like to do, let's start with, just because I've actually, I think I told you it was last week. It was a week today, actually. Last Friday, I was working with somebody, and we were doing the cutting cords, and I was teaching her how to do it for her daughter as well. Because some of the psychic attacks will come through other people, as you know.
That's what most psychic attacks come through other people, right?
You can actually mitigate some of it through cutting the cords.
Yes.
So let's start with cutting the cord.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good place, because once you clear your field of all the negative people you're attached to, it makes the other things easier to do, I think.
It is. And I agree. And what I came up this morning, I just started meditating on what we're going to talk about. But what I want to talk about is why is it that you can be attacked psychically? Everybody has the psychic abilities. And what I came up with was, being sensitive in a violent world can be difficult at times, yet it's through your sensitivity that you consciously feel and work with subtle energies. So there's no escaping all these little nuances or attacks to a certain degree until you learn to be able to protect yourself from it. If you're going to ascend to higher consciousness, it's through your sensitivity and your emotions you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So if you're breaking, so sending and receiving telepathic messages is what we are supposed to be doing. We are supposed to speak on the telepathic plane. But if someone is sending you telepathic messages which were not invited, they're ill-intended, they're designed to harm you or designed to cause you grief, that's a psychic attack.
Yeah.
So it's still a telepathic, but it's uninvited. It's like somebody busting through your front door and saying, hey, we're here. And you didn't invite them over for Christmas dinner and they showed up. Like that's the physical reality, but these are on the different planes, right? The better one gets at perceiving energy, the more skillfully they manage how they are affected by the energy around them, how they project their energy, and why this is important, because when you psychically know how to connect, that's your connection to spirit.
Yep.
So this is all, so it's really, I wanted to set the tone of why this is so important, that we understand the subtle energies instead of shutting it down and going, I don't want to go there anymore. Yeah. That we have to go. So this is why we want to understand these fields around us. So that was what I just, for the introduction of why it's so important that you still focus on your sensitivities. Yeah. And if you get attacked, know how to put them at bay.
Absolutely. Actually, do you want to, why don't we tell your story? I knew you wanted to today. You were going to. I'm going
to tell a little bit about it. So what has happened recently? So let's talk about being good intended. So you show up somewhere and somebody has an opinion. So I'm going to stick it to the jab and the face diaper conversation. Just that's the part I'm going to leave it with. But I showed up somewhere and somebody had made a comment and I could see the contempt in their face on various topics, but the one that came up is that he hoped that anybody who didn't get, he didn't call it the jab, and didn't wear their mask get so sick that they come this close to dying, but don't quite die and come back. And I'm sitting here and I just shuddered. A couple of years ago, I had somebody I knew, another older gentleman, had said the same thing, that you got to stay home and mask up. I hope you get sick and die, Sandy. And I'm like, that's not a nice thing to say. But he's not close to me, so he didn't land on me. This other person landed on me, and then, you know, I don't feel great about it. Sunday, I'm kind of, Monday, all of a sudden, I start feeling sick. I go for a walk, and I'm feeling nauseous.
We were chatting. This is why
this is how it started coming on, right? So I started feeling sick when I was walking, and then I was talking to somebody else for about an hour, and then I was talking to Karen for a bit, and then by the time I finished with Karen, I had something in the oven, and I was eating it, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be sick. This doesn't taste right. Guess what they were sending to me? And then by the time I'm talking to you, I'm like, I'm going to throw up. And you said my face had changed. And then you had said, wait a minute, let's see if this is yours or not. I would never in a million years dreamt that person would want me to be sick.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a person who protects you.
And you know what? I wouldn't, you know, people get sick. It's not a big deal. You eat something off, but I don't know, the energy coming off of you, it was like, I could feel somebody attacking you.
Yeah. So I wasn't sick because of what I ate. It's just when I was eating, I'm like, I can't finish this. I feel sick. Yeah. So what had nothing to do with what I ate. But you had said, hey, wait a minute, this isn't yours. I'm like, huh? Sometimes it's easier to fix somebody else's energy field than your own. So that's why we need people we can count on, that we can say, hey, can you help me out here? I'm stuck. But I didn't even notice it. And then we went through and figured out who it was. And by this point, I was so nauseous, I could only take the energy off me. I didn't even have the strength to send it back. And usually I'm pretty quick with that. I didn't, by this point, I'd let so much of it land. I never guessed in a million years this person would want me that sick for their own, just to teach me a lesson. So you know how we know the governments want you dead, the medical system wants you dead, you know, everyone wants you dead. Well, sometimes it's people you really think should have your back who want you dead too. So it's really important you cut those cords. So that night I went in, after we talked, I went and laid down on the couch and I was just, and I had a tapping sequence for the common cold. So I did the full sequence on that. I put psychic, I did my protection from dark energy prayer. I used some essential oils. I think I ended up taking probiotics that night because my stomach hurt. I was taking vitamin C, trying my best to shield. And when I got up in the morning, I went and had a shower, got rid of it all. And then I could put the shield up and send it back. So so we really have to understand, as we're going into our consciousness, doesn't mean other people still can't send you something from their ill intentions. And what I'm really learning about narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, what they call trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is when you make excuses for somebody. Oh, they had a bad childhood. They don't mean to do it. They're sending you a flu that's designed to get you to the brink of death, but bring you back. There's no excuse for it. Yeah, and those were the words that person said. Right. So it's really important we understand this. And like you said, with the person you're helping cut the cords for her baby, these people know when you're leaving. So I've talked about this in the last few weeks and few months that I know this is a toxic situation and I'm slowly pulling away. This person doesn't want me to pull away. This person wants me to know they're king and I'm just the stuff they wipe their feet on.
I told you that person that I was working with, and we were cutting her cords and the baby's cords. And guess what? The person that we were dealing with, because she continued to work on it after she was here. And funny thing is the next day, she's getting all these frantic texts. And she's like, we've already discussed this. It's like, what is this about? And I explained to her, like, they can feel the cutoff. They can feel it. And they're trying to reestablish that cord and come back.
Dominance. Yeah, the control. It's not love. If it was love, they wouldn't have to hook you in and bring you in. It's all about control.
Absolutely. And this person is very controlling, and it has a dark agenda, and she knows it.
And the purpose for saying this. So the purpose for saying this for everyone is understand if you start breaking away, it might not be a clear cut. You might physically be able to relocate. And I think of the movie Sleeping with the Enemy. She had to pretend everything was sunshine and roses until she fell off the back of the boat. But by then she'd gone and taken her swimming lessons. She had her stuff packed where she needed to pick it up on the beach. She'd thrown the rock to burn out the light. She had done so many different things that she had to prepare, but he was still so obsessed to get back. So that's an extreme situation. I'm not saying all these situations are that extreme.
No.
But no, because you think you've said no physically to somebody else, it doesn't mean they're going to respect that boundary etherically. So this is
exactly. And when they, and sometimes, because most people, I don't even think they realize that they have done this courting and that there's this connection. But when they feel the loss, because it's just a feeling of loss, or, in this particular case is of loss of control.
If this person means harm to the woman and the child, this is not just loss. This is they have an ill intention toward this child and this woman on an etheric field.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants me sick to the point they want me to get to the brink of death. So, you know what I mean? Somebody does not have my good intention, and it's irrelevant who it is. Doesn't matter. It's understanding and being able, and you help me with this, and please don't say who it is, but you're asking, is it this person? And I said who it was. I mean, you're dosing that is who it is.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say who, but no, and it was amazing. Just the small amount of clearing we did, you completely changed the way you look from the beginning to the end of that conversation. You weren't 100% there, but I
still didn't have the strength to send it back, but I was getting closer to my balance again. And I appreciate that help very much. Right.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's just, you know what, there was a reason why we chatted, because you wouldn't have realized it was coming from someone else. And
I would never have. I honestly thought I was getting sick, and I'm like, I don't get sick.
No, it wasn't yours.
No. So this is why we want people to understand this, because so much of the ill intentions that are set when you look at what they call the black hats or the DS or whatever it is, they want to hurt you more than you don't want to be hurt. So it's really important. We're going to go down the rabbit hole with protection, go down the rabbit hole of how it's time to clean out some more things. And as you clean out more of your emotional trauma this lifetime, and they might try to record to you. So what I did do on the next morning after you and I talked, I had tried to cut back the cord. I put up the steel, a shield around me. I had sent it back. But then when I was in the shower, I got out of the shower, and all of a sudden I could feel my body sizzling. And it was almost like I lit strings off a dynamite, and there was about 8 of them, and they went in all different directions. And I thought, holy crap, there's more people hooked in here than I thought, all picking away, thinking they got a piece of me.
Yeah.
So I just sizzled them off, burned them back energetically to their space. So I burned the path. And then one thing I do is I smear the energy all around me so they can't see me. I put protection over the house. I don't want to say exactly what I did in case anybody watches this, but you have the right to put protection around the house. Maybe you put yourself in a crystal bubble that they can't find you. Maybe you put yourself in under the Amazon jungle. Maybe you create some sort of a psychic image that you had yourself in.
Yeah, a cloaking device of some sort.
Yeah, right.
Everything is intention. Right. And
yes.
And that's what it all comes down to is this, and intention can be good or bad. And I don't know where this feedback is coming from. I think it's coming from your gut, something there. But
I'll lower my sound. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that might be
Okay.
it. Intention, because somebody had an ill intention towards you.
Thanks, Teresa.
Yeah, I was so happy.
I'm stronger now than ever. So let's let's understand. Once you understand somebody has ill intentions for you, your loyalty to them is done. That's not even an ounce of it. You're not making excuses for them anymore. It's like this is the last hurrah. You're done. And you think they're done before, but now you have no choice but to just disappear from their lives.
Yeah, because it's the ill intent. Again,
It's the intention.
The ill intention towards you. If you keep letting them in, you're just, regardless of how much protection you put around, you're also inviting it in.
You might not. So let's go to familiar and normal. I'm not sure if we've talked about this before. Sometimes people assume what feels familiar is normal. You might have had those hooks in your life from a very early age and grew up with them, assuming that was normally how you felt.
Yeah,
but it's not how you felt. Not naturally, not the innocence of a baby being born. It's just the condition you grew up in. So by the time you get to a teenager or older, it feels normal, and it's not. So you take the hit, and you take the sarcastic comments, and you assume, funny, and you don't realize how low these people, their self-esteem is, that they need to knock somebody else down to benefit themselves and make themselves feel like they're the king of the hill. And it's like, I don't know about any of them, but I'm bored out of my mind. This is our conversations, you know what I mean? So
absolutely. Yeah, no. And that's what we need to be really careful of. Some people you can't completely get rid of for whatever circumstance.
You might have to, you might share custody or something like that, but you still have to be cognizant that your energy is how they come at you. And if you know, if you ever watch Miles Johnson's, we did a video and he was talking about how things are created in the etheric plane on the 4th and 5th dimension. So the higher dimensions, which are intention, thought forms, and then they land in the physical. So you have to vibrate at least as high as that, if not higher, to be able to offset that. So that's the broadcast technologies was what he was talking about. He says anything they create through the TVs, the radio, any kind of signals to us, it's created at a dimension higher than our physical bodies. And that's why they influence us. So that's why awareness, consciousness, being awake to understanding your environment around you. When something doesn't feel right, you trust yourself, but you think, and then you make an excuse for somebody. Stop making excuses for them, right?
Yep, 100%. And that's really hard to do. I mean, I say 100%, but it's not always easy.
I'm not changing that, though. We're changing that by being aware. And I'm going to say this. I was speaking to a private group on Wednesday night, and the one fellow kept going on the forgive and forget. And I referenced a bit about what my views on this. And I, said about God and don't have Alzheimer's. And he goes, no, we need to forgive and forget. And then he went off the screen and other people asked questions. Then he came back and he goes, I want to ask you a question. Maybe I'll ask it a different way. And he said, if you hurt me, that's my soul's responsibility to forgive you. And I said, okay, let's look at this differently. I hurt you. I transgress upon you. I transgress upon you physically, emotionally, financially. It doesn't matter. Why is it your soul's responsibility to forgive me, but it's not my responsibility to say, I'm sorry, I took from you, I hurt you, I caused you harm? Why isn't it my soul's responsibility to get my act together and apologize for my action? And he just started nodding. And it's like the empaths, aren't you a bunch of sweethearts? But if you are doormats and letting them keep hurting you, you are allowing this to happen. And if you're doing it with the people around you, you're also doing it in the general consensus, because you're not catching on. And we thought we're meant to be the love and the light. We are going through a dimensional change. We are in the physical reality. If somebody's pounding down your door trying to break into your house, you're going to say, but we're the love and the light. No. You can either get your gun and stick some lead in them, break their knees with a baseball bat, whatever you're going to do. But you know that once this clears in this plane, then you go into a space where you can be the love and the light on a more regular basis. But right now you're balancing, you're straddling all the dimensions.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't love and light because that's rooted in the new age movement. They're all love and light and talk, real soft.
So my point is,
everything is wonderful, Sandy. Don't you worry.
I know, but it's the same as forgiveness. Everybody's programmed to forgive, and it's like, no, take some responsibility and grow up.
And I think I mentioned it when we did that forgiveness thing. It actually is in the Bible. In Jesus actually said to his disciples that you only forgive when somebody repents. So just like what you were saying, the person who transgressed needs to take responsibility and apologize and actually repent. And if they repent 100 times, you forgive them 100 times. But if they never actually say heartfelt sorry, not told me to say I'm sorry, that's not.
Or I never knew I did that before. That's not an apology.
Yeah, that's not an apology either. But actually, heartfelt understanding.
I'm really sorry. I hurt you. I didn't mean to.
There needs to be that heartfelt understanding of what they caused, and saying I'm regretful for that. I'm very sorry. Then you can forgive them.
Yeah. Who are you regretful for? You or me? I'm regretful I did it. That's not an apology either. I regret the harm I caused you. Right. Yes, so absolutely. We're gonna look at that. So you know what? I have I can't remember if I've shown you this before. It's non-beneficial psychic cords. So you can be connected to humans, either living or dead, to spirits, animals, places, objects, or others. You can be connected to, so when you look at the flow, is the energy coming into you or is energy being siphoned off? How many people are attacking you? And that's the point when I said I could feel about 8 sizzling off me.
You're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit there, Sandy.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So when you're looking at the energy flow, are they putting something into you like a hook? Are they drawing energy out of you, as in they're siphoning off you? How many of them are there? Because maybe they've sat and gossiped and got themselves convinced that you're the problem and you're the victim. And, you know, because you always blame the victim, and always the perpetrators always put it on the victims, right? You always put it on when somebody supported a certain candidate in the United States, they wanted to blame all of his supporters for the problem. And it's like, that's just illogical, right? And then to what specific point is it? And I like this one picture because it shows where all of the, can you see that? You see the, do you see all the hooks coming out of the body, into the body? Those are what cords look like. So they can be anywhere in the body. You see the very bottom one? That's coming out of the perineum. A lot of these are coming out of the chakras.
Yes.
But we start to understand what they are, and so you and I have cut cords. You and we burn cords. We pulled a knife out of your back and filled it with love to fill up that space, and got rid of it in another time, space, and dimension, right? So it's so important that we understand how these cords hook into us, and stop being the bleeding heart and letting people, oh, they had a bad childhood. I don't care anymore. You are what age? It's your responsibility to deal with it.
Because people have choices to make, and
same as everybody else that they hurt.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what you knew from the past. Hopefully, you grow up and realize that's not how people behave, and you make a choice. Everything is a conscious choice. I think it's when you move your stuff around, because I've got nothing here. I'm all by myself in this room with Pippa behind me sleeping.
So you move your stuff around sometimes so they can't find you. And one of my friends, he was labeled and diagnosed with mental illness as a teenager, and is very spiritual. They did end up locking him up, and he went through some steps, and he had a family member who loved him dearly and got him out of that situation. And we were talking the one day, and he said, to change your energy signature so they can't find you, what he said, he would take a kitchen chair, move it into the middle of the room, and he'd walk around it backward 3 times to change his energy signature. So understand how easy this is to change your energy. Like I said, I put things up around the house. I put different things around here. You could say I'm in the middle of a beautiful volcano that has an oasis inside that is not going to blow up, and I'm safe and they can't find me. I'm invisible to anyone who means me harm. So many things that you can do, right? I know, Teresa, those are all shallow people. We've all got those people who blame others from the past for their behavior. It's your fault I hurt you. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like that Little Rascals episode.
If you didn't do this, I wouldn't have done that. Well, really?
It's like that Little Rascals episode where the father's going to spank Alfalfa, and Alfalfa's like, and he puts books in his pants, and the father goes, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you, and Alfalfa's like, I don't think so. It's just a funny thing. So when we talk about, do you want to go into talking about shielding ourselves? From psychic attack?
And actually I want to say there are some healthy cords, like people that you love and have a good, healthy relationship with. You have good cords. So not all cords are bad. I want to make sure people know that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we need to, when you're in a good, loving relationship, and that doesn't mean a partner, it could be a friend. You could have a good, loving friend, or your pet, whatever, because those people that is a mutual healthy, loving relationship, you are corded to them. That's how you feel connected. It's your connection to other people. So not all cords are bad. It's you just have to identify the ones that are there that aren't serving.
Yes. And
The
you know,
ones
when you have a dear friend and you're thinking about them, they call you 2 minutes later, or, you know, like your pet, you're thinking of your pet and maybe your pet's passed and you can feel it beside you. Just, you know, there's some really healthy chords out there too. But the problem, there's a lot of control issues right now that people are trying to control everybody. They don't want anybody getting away from them or getting ahead. They don't want the system to change. But we want more healthy chords. We want loving chords. You can be in love with nature. You can be in love with life. You can be in love with humanity, but not accept the negative energy that some people in this species send out.
Yeah. And everything when we do talk about energy work, and that's the chords and everything is done with intention. So these chords are placed with an intention. Maybe not, I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand chords and they say, I'm going to place a chord in you, but it's that connection to be able to siphon it. It's all happening on a subconscious level. And then, but your intentions are also what remove them. And I like, I would, before we leave chording, what I would say to people is, if you do feel like you have some negative chords, you're connected, that you somehow can't seem to get like these negative people out of your life, they may have a hook in you. So in meditation, and you set your intention before you go in, that this is what I'm going to do. Go into it, you know, follow your breath, check your body. Where are these people? And like, check and get that, you know, your sword, big fat golden scissors, light them on fire, whatever it takes, whatever you feel drawn to get rid of them. You can do it yourself.
Yes.
Like Sandy said, she wasn't strong enough at one point to get it all, but she was able to clear some of it so she could breathe again.
Function.
Yeah. Then you can go in and do the work. Or again, like I said, sometimes I was working with somebody last week. We did it for her, showed her how she can do it for her daughter. It's about passing it forward. I'm all about, you know, giving people the tools to do what they need to do. And meditation is so key. When you do prayers, that is, I love this actually. When you pray, you're talking to God. When you're meditating, you can actually hear God, but you can also hear the God in your body who's going to tell you, because you are a fractal of God, and that will tell you where these negative things are, and you can just cut them off at the roots or pull them out. Sometimes you have to pull them out like a plant. You know
what? I released myself from etheric family control invocation that I was going to, if we have time, I was going to read it later for everybody. It's only a page and a bit, so it's not long.
Yeah,
that would go through and use your intention to get rid of this and feel yourself and reconnect with the divine. Right?
Yeah, because everything in this world is intention. So when you actually look at it from a heart space, you can achieve anything.
Yes. You know, I had one of my clients I was working with had a boil in his back. And he goes, it feels like there's a bone. I think he said a bone in there. And I said, it's a horn. He goes, it's a bone. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. They're both hollow. And we did a meditation and went in and went down the vertebrae. And I said, when you come to the nerve ending, walk out. And I go, right when you're right to the bone, if that's his word. And I go, who's there? And he said, nobody. I go, turn around real fast. It was my ex-wife. He goes, we split up. And then my father died. And I could feel her put the hook in the bone in her back. And I said, you can't hurt her. We're going to get rid of it. But even though she didn't know she was doing it and wasn't still sending him stuff, that bone was still in his back and he was getting physical boils on his back. So he took it out and hasn't had boils since.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what we can do.
Right. It doesn't mean she's still sending him negative intention. So this is the thing. If maybe they sent it a long time ago and it's still there and needs to be released, if they're still sending you negative, that they want to hurt you, that's a whole level of toxicity that needs to be taken to a new level, like a higher level of clearing them out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's where protection comes in. Yes. So, and that's the psychic attack. And really protection, and that's where we wanted to go next. I just wanted to get that whole thing and how you yourself can get rid of them. I mean, sometimes you need other people to help.
People need help to get started. That's my opinion, because you could do more damage than not. So if you can use the services of somebody who knows how to do it. It's like when you start working with energy, like when I clear out emotional and spiritual energies, sometimes my client will come back the next week and they're going, you wouldn't believe what happened in dream state, because they know you're waking up and leaving. So now they're going to try to control you on another dimension. So you understand, if it comes in, cast it out. It's all you need to know for now.
Yeah, and that's why
we'll deal with it next
protection
week.
is critical. Like,
Right.
I do protection every single day.
Yes.
First thing
And
in
I
the
agree.
morning and last thing before I go to bed, and make sure
Yeah.
that my entire day, even in my sleep, that I'm protected in my home. And those, I actually do this whole big
And
spiel.
people need to know how to do that, right? Because they're not taught. And the one prayer was, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray my soul, the Lord to take. Right? So I've modified that as to just protect me in various words, right? But that was what that was all about. And they've slowly closed all that out from Western society. Right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there were so many things that we used to do that, were there for a reason. And I mean, that's really just a protection prayer. And if anything happened, that, I go the right way.
Can we talk about shielding your energy from psychic attack, different ways to do that?
Absolutely. Go for it, Cindy.
So become aware what it feels like when you're under attack. So it's funny because this is a document that I've created, but because of what's happened last week, I've added physically ill. So feel what it feels like when you're under attack. It might feel that you've been discouraged to do something, or you're afraid to move ahead. We forgot to see what it feels like to be invaded. Do you feel clumsy or unbalanced? That can be an indication you're under psychic attack, or feel a presence around you, or uneasy, physically ill, which is what I didn't know. Do you demoralize or demean yourself? Do you stub your toe? Do you walk into things? Some of those things can mean you're under psychic attack, that somebody just wants you a little off your game, right? Perhaps you have a habit of sabotaging yourself. Maybe when you say, I'm not going to eat chocolate, what's the first thing you do? You go to your chocolate stash. Right? So it's almost like it's an absolute reverse programming. So these are just examples how you can feel when something's not right, or everybody's taking everything you say the wrong way. Well, what are the chances are you're the asshole 99% of the time? Probably unlikely. So something could be making you say the words incorrectly, or have the wrong body energy. So when you think of ill intentions, like the Prince and the Frog thing, do you know what I mean? Like, how did that guy get turned into the frog, right? That was somebody's ill intention. Yeah. So when you look at various ways to protect your energy from psychic attack, you can shield your energy by visualizing and creating an energy bubble around you. So we talked about that already. You can put a shield around you. It can be made of any material, any substance you think, whether it's metal, whether it's brick, whether it's like a really strong titanium type, whether it's wood. It can be clay, it can be crystal, it can be whatever you want it to. It can be a bubble of light if that's what you feel. It can be whatever color you want. Imagine yourself in a bubble 3 feet around, 3 feet up, 3 feet down, and that's your space. You have the right to that space, and you have the right to say whether someone comes in here. People always say to me, but what about on the subway? You chose to get on the subway. Okay, so then you realize you're going to let somebody in your space. So maybe you bring your space in closer and hold it tighter with the days you're on the subway. So you have the right to change that if you want, right? Another one is ground your energy to ensure your energy bubble is stable. You don't want your energy bubble bouncing and whatever. You want it to stay with you because you're on the physical ground. You want it to stay with you on the ground. If you're flying, you want it to be around you in that plane. You might extend it to the whole plane just to get everybody there safely. Right. So another one is close your chakras. A lot of people, they open their chakras and they do the energy work, but then they don't go in and close them up again. If you don't close your chakras or bring them into a reasonable size when you finish working with them, you can leave them open for cords to come in. As I showed you the one picture, like I think a lot of this was the chakras. Yep. Where this was happening, right? So learn how to close your chakras before you start really working with your energy. Play spiritual music in your house. Music is uplifting, which dark energies do not like. They do not like the binaural beats. They don't like the tuning forks. They don't like Ave Marie. Like there's certain music they do not like. Mm-hmm. So play that kind of music in your house to clear the energy. Leave it playing when you're not at home. So the little sneaky guys think they're going to come back in, or there's going to be any kind of that they're going to be waiting for you when you cross the threshold of your door, or they're going to open a portal. Leave it playing for a couple of days, or change it up so that it doesn't know how to access and come in. Say positive affirmations to yourself about yourself with the intention of increasing your feelings of self-worth and higher sense self-worth. And this is one from Betty. I deserve to be happy. Your I deserve list. So I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to take away and talk a bit about that,
Yes.
Betty, and then I'll come back and talk about a few more.
Yeah, well, I was telling Sandy after my divorce from my first husband, I actually noticed that there was a pattern in the men that I was dating. And one day I just got really angry. I got really, really angry because I realized the common denominator was me. So why am I attracting this type of behavior? And realized that I actually got really angry, and I'm like, I deserve better. I was all by myself in my place, and I'm like, fuck it. I deserve better. And I was like, screw it. I'm making a list. And I actually made a list of all the things I deserved in a partner. And I got on my computer, I typed up the list because I did type it up. I didn't, and I saved it in a folder. And I felt really good after. I was like, phew, okay, good. And so months go by, and I start dating my husband now. And let me tell you, 6 months in, I realized, oh my God, I have a list. I forgot about it. Pulled it up. Check, 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 check. It was like, whoa, okay. Completely different than what was going on before.
And this is why it's so important that we understand how our minds work and that how we raise our consciousness, because we can create these things. One, most often people don't think they're deserving of it. Two, even though they say they want these things, if you've got negative trapped energy or cords in your body, you're getting sabotaged. So it's okay to go through, learn how to know what you want, bring in what you want, know you're deserving. That's the key. Most people make a list of what they want in a partner, not what they're deserving of.
Yeah.
So this when you're telling me this, I'm thinking this is just beautiful what you're describing, right?
It's an amazing thing. And the reason it worked, and I do believe this, is because I actually went into it with a lot of emotion.
Yes.
Like I was angry with the situation and I wanted to change it. And I really was like, what do I deserve? I was like, I came in with a ton of emotion going, this is what I deserve. And I'm not settling for less. And I'm going to write it down to keep myself accountable to that list.
And ta-da! So that's great for everybody who's doubting themselves. Know that you're worthy and make a list of how deserving you are.
Yeah.
And there's other things I could go into, but I want to stay on topic here. Do not take sleeping aids, do drugs or consume alcohol, caffeine, and do not smoke. And it's easier said than done. A lot of people do some of those things. A lot of people do all those things. But the idea is that you don't want to alter your state of consciousness. So, I have wine sometimes. It's not a problem. I drink a bit of coffee in the morning. For the amount I drink, I don't think it's a big deal. But at the same time, I don't notice my mood changes that much in the morning. Take salt baths to detox your mind, body, and soul. So that's one that if you've got any kind of negative energy, so maybe somebody had a hook in you and the hook's gone, but the residue's still in your body. And when you detox, you can just say, I release anything that has not previously been released, let it leave in the water and down the drain with your the negative energy.
I actually want to jump in on that because water is super powerful. I used to meditate I used to take a bath at least 2-3 times a week. I don't even like baths, but I used to do salt baths. Epsom salt, half Epsom salt and sea salt, and then some essential oils, depending on what I wanted to work on. And I used to meditate in my bath, and oh my goodness, how powerful! Because the water, because we are mostly water, it actually acts as a conductor too.
Yes, we are conductors. Our thoughts are conductors.
Yeah, with the water, it actually magnifies it huge.
Yes.
And I do it in the shower too. I meditate every day in the shower because I'm a water sign. So I really connect with water. And I find that the shower is the most powerful place, or a bath. Now I haven't had a bath in years, and I used to do that all the time.
And it's okay, like the summer's coming, to go to a lake or a swimming hole and, be with the negative ions in the water, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm just going to go on here. So spend time with nature. You know how connecting with nature. Focus on your breathing. Breathe in love. Breathe. Exhale love. Breathe in Christ consciousness. Exhale, Christ consciousness. Breathe in Mother Nature. Exhale, Mother Nature. So really work on your breathing and spending time out in nature. Find an energy practitioner to assist you with moving your energy or unblocking stuck energies. I didn't learn all this through osmosis, like all of it on my own. I use different energy practitioners. I've had cranial sacral work done. I've had reflexology massages. I've gone to the torture bed. I can't remember what that one's called. It has ultra red light on it. I've gone for salt therapy, gong therapy. I've gone for singing bowl therapy. I've tried yoga and it helped me in certain ways, but there's a certain injury I have. I can only go so far with it. It doesn't matter. It taught me how to center. It's not about one way or the other. So there's all kinds of modalities out there, and there's not just one. I wouldn't vouch for any one person alone. Like no. Just not one person, one modality. Try a variety of them, because every one of these modalities has will release something different, right?
And you'll feel which one you're called to.
And you practice with it for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a year, maybe it's Tai Chi and you practice it lifelong. And it doesn't matter. It's up to you, right? Trust yourself. This one here, avoid constipation, as it makes your energy in your body stagnant and more susceptible for negative energies to attach. Think of it as dust bunnies in your house. Right? But when you're constipated, that root chakra can't cleanse. It can't.
I'm picturing dust bunnies up through my colon.
Right? But that's the same thing. If your house is dirty, that's when those little black things out of the corner of your eyes can show up. And they are negative energies. They're dark energies that are in your home. But think of them in your body. And if you're angry at somebody, or I had a major release this week, my whole body, everything changed. My head cleared. Everything changed because my body didn't hold on, because I realized I'm holding on to their shit trying to make this appear normal. And it's like, there's nothing normal about it. Let it go, right? So avoid constipation. Release essential oils is good for that. Sometimes I found using fennel around your abdominal region and your lower back can help just release gas or get things moving. There's things like that. Remove items and objects from your environment that make you feel uneasy. If you know you have something and someone gave you a gift and you no longer have a relationship with that person, and you think, could somebody be sending something through that as a talisman? I had someone here recently and remembered her mother-in-law gave her something. And I said, there's something in your house. Like, she was trying to think, why am I so afraid to move ahead? Her mother-in-law did not want her to move ahead, even though she's not married anymore.
Right.
She didn't want her daughter, ex-daughter-in-law, to be successful. So I said, I want you to go through your house and look at everything you've been given. Doesn't matter who gave it to you. And I don't care the answer. She doesn't owe me an explanation. It's irrelevant. Praise it, thank it. I no longer need you, or accept the energy off you, and find the appropriate way to dispose it. So we all know about burning sage, get rid of the dark energies. Keep your spirits up. So it's hard sometimes when somebody's trying to kick your ass and knock you down psychically. And I needed a bit of help this week. So I have, I never thought to bring it over here, an orgone pendant that I put on. And I know with this orgone pendant, people can't find me. And it's the craziest thing. So I've gone in and had spiritual workers work on me, and energy workers, and they can't get a beat on me. And some of them have said, what's that on your neck? And when I said it, they go, get rid of it. So here's an example of an orgone puck. This is pretty big, but maybe it's something you can keep in your pocket, or keep around you while you're trying to get rid of the negative energies. Call in a psychic or dowser to remove any geopathic stress or energy you have in your home or office. So some people do feng shui, but you can go through your house and see if there's negative portals. I've done this for clients before and found portals. And they say, I walk in my house and it's just dread. And you find there's a portal in the hallway that just waits for them to come in, drop down, latch on, siphon their energy. Right? And they move into another room, and then other energies come in. So but you don't know if that entity is also sent by somebody else. Because I know people who've told me that, like the one little girl had a couple demons that she'd go and sick on people. So you don't know where these are going to come in, right? So why am I doing this? That makes me wonder right now. Mm-hmm. Strengthen your commitment to source, your vertical channel. Strengthen your connection to your one self. You are your higher self. If you want to look down at your physical form, you as your higher self command what's going around you. It's not that you're separate. It's just you have different aspects of yourself. But the higher you go up to observe, the more you can see what's happening. And no matter what, you deserve to be loved and be treated fairly and to be treated decently. And if somebody can't do it, they got to go. It's just what they have to do. So dark energies don't like the light of the divine. They do not like that. So love will set you free. So use the solfeggio notes. I know we've talked about that a few different times. Using the solfeggio notes, 528 frequencies, 741 clears negative energy, 528 is love and DNA repair. And some of these things might sound like I'm repeating them, but it's not that way. It's just you have to decide when to use them. And you might have 20 tools in your arsenal. Maybe you don't use all 20 tools at the same time. Maybe one time you go through a spell where you'll use them, or another time you'll go through crystals. There'll be a crystal that helps you clear. It doesn't matter what you do, right? But know that there is ways to shield yourself.
You'll feel what you need. The more connected you are to your higher self. And remember, your higher self is that part of yourself that lives in the divine realms. This is where you came from. It's where you're going to go. At the end of the day, this is your tether to the divine energies.
And being the observer on earth.
Yes. And so that's why that is so important to connect to, because when you connect to who you are, because that's who you really are, this is where you come from. And yes. I think we were chatting the other day, and my mom was actually telling me this. It's like, in the book of Thomas and the Gnostic texts, Jesus talks about the disciples were asking him, about where we're going, how, where do we go when we die? What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, why are you so worried about where you're going to go? You need to figure out where you came from to be able to know where you're going to go.
That's why remembering is so important, right?
Remembering is so important because you're going to go home. Where is your home? And so where does your soul truly reside? Where is its home? That's what we need. That's what we're striving for.
Aspiring to do, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, right? And with the energies that are coming on, I know I posted something recently about solar flares. I think it was just this week. And I think it was like, I don't even know what he is. But he's talking about the solar flares that are coming on. Consciousness is waking, whether we are ready for it or not. And sometimes Betty and I have trouble because we talk so much that we don't know if we said something in the video or just that week, right? So we're hoping that we're not repeating. But what's happening is the human resonance is picking up. Consciousness is coming in. And I know we've been taught to always bring everybody with us. That's not how this works. If you're ready to ascend to a higher consciousness and you're ready, and maybe you have some cords or attachments that you need to release yourself from, go ahead and do it. And instead of, like, when you're running a race, you don't turn around and say, oh, come on guys. You keep running. And if they want help, you say, oh, come on. If we're doing it, like, you bring them along. If you're halfway up a mountain, you don't go back to the bottom to help them back up. You say, come on, I'll slow down a little bit, but you got to catch up, and I'll give you tips and I'll cheer you on to get here. But you keep going, because if that water level is going to hit halfway up the mountain, you didn't do anybody any service by staying in the bottom half of the mountain to help people who may or may not really want help.
Yep.
So keep striving to be your best self. Keep striving to understand who you are and why you're here. And keep striving to know that when all this lands, we still have a lot of work to do to help make this heaven on earth the world we want it to be. So it's just, there's a lot to unpack there.
Absolutely. And I did a video earlier this week where I talked about that. It's, we're going to come out the other side of this, but the other side of this is not going to be all set up for us. We have
to create it.
We have to create the new world that we want. And that means all of us. So we all have to get off our asses and figure out what our purpose is. Because if you're here right now, we have a purpose, and we don't all know what our purpose is. But you need to do that inner work, start connecting, and the path will open itself up to you. You don't have to strive for it. It's going to come when you ask for it, and when it's the right time.
And so many people aren't aware. I'm going to say aren't aware. I don't know if that's the right term, but there's so many aspects of ourselves that we're not taught about. When you look at your astrological chart, some people have a lot of planets in the first half of their zodiac. So that's Aries to Virgo. So they have a lot of planets. So they have a lot of help with relationship to themselves. But maybe they struggle with relationships with others. So that's what they have to work on. There's no right or wrong. It's just the consciousness of when you're born. Some people have a lot of planets with helping others, but they didn't really look at helping themselves. And I'm wondering if those aren't the empaths. I haven't made a correlation with all the different people I've worked with in the birth charts I've looked at. But some of the people who keep giving to everybody else and don't give to themselves, it's up to them now to work on themselves. And like you said, we don't have to know what our purpose is. I say right now, my purpose is help to bring love onto the planet, to understand and articulate in a very cognizant form explain what it is so that people can go, oh yeah, and get their bearing. Who's to say a year from now that my mission my purpose isn't going to morph into something else? It doesn't have to be static. It's part of the joy of living, right? And I know I've said this.
Absolutely, because I think, and it will change because life changes, we change, circumstances change.
Yeah,
it's fluid.
Be open,
be fluid, and not be stuck in a rut. And I know that I'm not very good at sticking to a lane.
What's your lane? So when I say sticking to a lane, it's not a lane of knowledge. It's about minding your business when it's appropriate and not going and telling others.
I do a lot of, I do a lot of things.
But that is your lane because that's your choice, but they're creative. You don't infringe on other people to do what you want.
No. But I want, like, part of my, I do believe, like, part of my mission is this is helping people get to that next level. Those who are seeking it are going to find us.
Yes.
So we are being shadow banned, by the way. I keep hearing it, even though it's such a small channel. And I'm like, why would they do it to such a small channel? And like, I don't know how big
they don't.
They don't like the message.
Yeah.
So we're over the target, which is fantastic. But I don't normally ask, but please like, share, and subscribe because these efforts are really messing with my channel. Sandy is actually, she's been like, nobody can find you. Nobody can find this. The link isn't there. And it's like, what the hell? It's like, I got under 1,000. I got under 500.
So it worked the first number of lives we did. We had no problem. People were coming in. It wasn't a problem. It's only been the last two, and I'm not sure where we're at today, but it's only the last two. So you're being shadow banned. So it's like the message starts getting out. Maybe it's the speed of which you're growing. I don't know. But how do some people go and get 100,000,
it's
subscribers in 6 months, right?
It's been pretty stagnant for months and months and months, even before you, Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, since we started doing the lives, the first number we're showing, I'm talking only about the lives, first number we're showing, it's just been the last couple that haven't. So we have to understand it's just the nature of the game, right? So can we, let's talk about why we're here. And when people get caught up on purpose, and I know I've read this to people before, you are here to live your own life, to be true to genuinely what moves you. What moves you? Is it plants? Is it animals? Is it people? Is it a clean environment? Is it having fun? Is it creating music? Is it native music? There's no right or wrong as long as it comes from your heart. And I really want to stress that, right? So there's no right or wrong to it. Remain true to what inspires your heart and commit to your spiritual path, because it is through your heart that you do increase your spirituality. As you do so, you'll become increasingly powerful as a healer, as a helper, and as a human. So I'm not a big fan of the word healer, but you'll become more powerful to be able to help people help themselves. Trust yourself and trust your heart to lead the way as you grow with your true and divine self, because we are the divine intelligence. We are IA. We're intelligent already. Everything is designed with all this little techno, I don't even know what you call it. That's all designed to keep us suppressed so that they can mimic us and overtake us.
Yeah.
But we understand how powerful we are, that we have the neurotransmitters to be able to telepathically connect. We have the ability to do that. And this is what we're trying to get back into, right? We're trying to remember how to do some of these things, but do it in a way that we don't land somewhere where we shouldn't be, right? So we are here to awaken consciousness into love.
Yeah.
And when we realize it's through the heart, like you've talked, Betty, through the emotions, and you've been able to manifest through some anger, but you also would have had a big heart then. I deserve, you might have done it through anger, but you would have also
But it was learning. It was actually, it was learning I deserve more. And it was the realization, and there was a lot of, I don't know. It almost, I remember it really, I actually can see myself in my head on what happened that day. And it was like I threw something off, all of this stuff that held me down and all the negative stuff that, you didn't deserve, you weren't good enough. I just threw it off.
Exactly.
F you all. No, this is what I deserve. And I actually, I think that first time in a real powerful way. I've done it before, but not in this powerful way where I stepped into my power and my deserving in a really positive way.
So, Carol made a comment, no worries, gals, you'll be banned soon enough. And Carol, what we're talking about is psychic attack and projecting onto others. And that is a passive aggressive psychic attack. You will be banned. No, we won't. You might be blocked, but we will not be banned. And if we are banned, we will show up somewhere else. And nothing is stopping us because we are on our path. And this is the stuff, maybe you weren't here earlier to understand what we're discussing. This is where other people need to understand that you project your nonsense on others and it lands. And we're talking about sending it back. So like I said, we're sending that back to you. We can block you easy enough, but we're not accepting your projection onto us.
Yeah. And you know what? Those of you, in the descriptions, I have my other channels because I do have backups.
Yeah, and we're going to keep doing that because people are getting banned for no reason. It's all AIs, right? So what are we going to talk about? We got a few more minutes left, Betty. Are we going to go into
I was actually going to say, why don't you read that thing that I think that
the cord cutting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe if you can, maybe we can. Is it really long?
No, like this page.
Okay, well, no, I didn't mean for reading. I meant for putting it in the description so that.
Oh, I can do that too, right? But when you say this, you say it with all the intention of cutting these cords. You know that you're deserving of something better, as Betty's been saying with this. We know we're deserving of something better, and understand that you have the right to do this. You don't wish anybody away, but nor do you offer them love. You wish them well without malice. So I really want to drive this home. What you're doing, you're standing up to in your power, saying, no, I do not accept. Right? Yeah. So it's really important that we understand that for all the empaths who keep taking other people's stuff, you don't have to do that anymore. So yeah, I can send that. That's not a problem to send that. I also have another one, protecting from dark forces, but that might be another time. Just to what can I say?
I think this might be let us know in the comments, those who are watching now, or watch it after it's been recorded. Let us know if you do as part 2 in this, because I think there's still so much to unravel in this. So we might be able to do a part 2 next week. Okay. And
so let's finish up with what you were talking about with that video with Joanne. So what she's saying is, why this is important, because she said it's already been in play for a couple months and it's got a couple weeks, and it's going to run a couple more weeks. So I don't want to leave it for another week before people understand what's happening. So I'm just making points from what she has said. Okay, what I watched. We are clearing trauma from above. Anything that comes to me that brings me down, I have had it, is what she's saying. I am being presented the trauma and says, I am ready to heal this. So anything that brings you down has some sort of a tie to you, or it wouldn't still be bringing you down. And it doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. It doesn't mean it's yours. It means it's got a hook in you. So don't own it. Just observe it for what it is, right? Other past lives are healing trauma. Protect your energy. There's going to be a lot of trauma coming up for the next few weeks. So you're going to have birth families. You're going to have families of origin. You're going to have all kinds of past things. People are going to come up because they want to hold on to what they have so strongly, but it's up to you to start to heal that, right? And she's saying a lot of this is going to come out in the next couple of weeks. When we experience trauma, ground yourself, eat food, excuse me, eat the right kind of foods, like potatoes. I remember one time when I was going through extreme clearings, I made mashed potatoes, and I bet you I ate mashed potatoes for 3 days, for 3 meals, and then I maybe had a day or two that I didn't. I went back and had mashed potatoes, and it was a grounding because it was a root vegetable, right? So when we experience trauma, detox. I know so many people right now who are going through detoxes, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it's maybe French fries or food that they would have in a restaurant, they're going back to vegetables. I just went up and cut up a whole head of celery, like a whole bunch of celery today. And that's what I had for breakfast, banana and celery. And it's just like, we're going through and preparing our bodies for the next level of whatever is going to be in the energies. So we want to make sure that we clear that out. Feel the trauma, feel the pain and suffering. And this is how we get through the emotions. When you feel the emotions, when you feel it hurts, when you feel that somebody you care about shouldn't have sent you sickness, doesn't mean you have to like it. But there's no guarantee that what makes you feel bad is bad for you. It just means there's something to clear. If you don't feel comfortable clearing something, find somebody. Betty and I do it. Many of energy workers out here that you can say, can you just walk me through this? I don't know if I can do this alone. And I've always said this, what we've gone through sometimes is the scariest thing to look at, but you don't have to do it alone. And sometimes it's bigger in your head than it really needs to be. Sometimes it's just your story, but you're hanging on, right? So past lives replicate. This was big for me too, because as things were going on this week, I'm thinking, man, I've been here before. I don't remember many of my past lives. One involved an incredible amount of betrayal. So it's like, okay, this is my victory lap. I'm going to get it right this time. I wasn't laughing a couple days ago, but I am now, right? Clear your trauma and declare your own sovereignty. You have the right to be happy. You have the right to be free. You have the right to live on this planet and go about your business and not expect to be hurt and sabotaged. A release from experiences in other dimensions. This is interesting because I worked with a man once in the secret space program, and what we cleared from him was anger, but it was in the future because he knew they were going to employ him again to do horrible things and go in and fight, and he didn't want to do that. So if we can't consciously remember the other dimensions that we live in, doesn't mean they don't exist. So set the intention that I intend to clear my trauma from all dimensions, all interdimensions, all past, present, parallel, and future lives. It's my intention to bring these for surface clearing now, right? Collect all the parts that you had said, as you had said, Betty, that have been separated and need to come home. Traumatized to split. So people are traumatized to split the brain, and they say you split the brain from birth to age 7 because their brains haven't developed, so you can compartmentalize them, and then that way you can use MK Ultra on them. That's what a lot of this has happened. It's okay for us to stay angry and say, anybody who's done this, I don't care if it's in the name of military, I don't care if it's in the name of MK Ultra, I don't care if it's the space program, you're doing this, we do not accept your behavior. We will not accept your apology because the extent of pain and suffering you've caused is too great. I'm not saying I get to say what
they're not sorry. No,
they're not sorry. And that's the point. And these whistleblowers, some of them who are coming out now, they're not sorry.
Because I think the shit's coming down and they want to be on the right side of it to save their own asses. A lot of them.
I'm starting to wonder that, right?
So I think people see the writing on the wall that it's over.
It's over, and they got off on it, and they're saying, well, I've seen things I shouldn't have, maybe, I wish I hadn't seen, but did you do something about it? And yes, sometimes if you can't sit here now and articulate how it happens and offer authorities, whatever you call authorities, or people who work in that business, tips on how to get out of that and make sure that it doesn't happen again, and show all the little trapdoor kind of things or booby traps they use, then you're part of the problem. To sit here and say, yeah, I saw it, but I was doing a different job back then, you're part of the problem. If you can't find tips for these guys, so I'll use an example for dysfunctional families. When people hurt people, I come out and I look at what the child is born in love. And then you've got the baby, and then you've got a connection to caregivers, and then the connection breaks down. And then you start going into I don't belong, and you start watching the whole cycle of what the person goes through, right down to suicide, and then comes back up and says, hey, maybe I do belong. Maybe this life is good for me. And you look at this cycle, what is this called? The creation of my spirit, the creation and destruction of a spirit. So we want to be able to offer tools for some of these people that you can show this is the harm that was caused to you. So if you went all the way down into too much pain, I want to belong again, or addictions. There's all kinds of things on here. Depression, codependent behavior. Wasn't your fault. That was the natural steps to take you down. But we're here to help you figure out what this is and bring you back out. That's a tool that people can use to help restore the integrity in the lives of people who've been hurt, right? So you want to be able to offer some sort of tools or a solution. You don't have to be one of the people who did this to offer these things, but we need solutions that work for everybody, right? And my last one, whatever you want for the highest good of all, the highest good for you, the highest good of creator, for love and above, for the highest timeline. Yeah. And these are things that we can all do while things are unfolding, and understand in the next few weeks, if things hit the fan for you personally, you're not alone.
And if they hit the fan for us globally, we're not alone either. We're not alone. And this is why I think this message, or everything we've been doing for the last few weeks together, is so important. The world is going to change. Do we know when? No. Nobody gave me a timeline. Nobody's calling me to tell me whatever.
You're not that special.
I'm not, but you know what? The people who supposedly are that special are getting shit information anyway, so why bother? But in my gut, I feel like we're at the precipice of change.
Yes, and we are. So what are we going to do to be that change?
But we
with
have
love
to
in our heart. With,
absolutely. But what I was getting at was this is a preparation on a spiritual level to be prepared for that change, because the world we came from will never be the same again. No. And who would want it?
Some do, because they're tied to money. So their net worth is their wealth. So when you look at a prophet, the word prophet spelled Prophet, and then you look at the 3D money world prophet, Profit. So everything's a play on distorting to minimize the humans into the lowest common denominator of materialism, right? So we're starting to see that. So,
but end of the day, regardless of who wins, so these people who are stuck in their little trap of money and what they have, if you aren't part of the club, you lose it anyway.
You're losing it anyway.
I feel that way too. It's gone. Yeah. You either are walking into a good, just amazing world, or we become slaves and you lose everything anyway. So guess what? Hop on this train. It's a lot happier.
So choose. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Choose. Right? Get off the freaking fence.
The lovely crystals that came out today, and they've come out for the last 2 days for people, is carnelian. So carnelian, notice I'm wearing orange today, is healing the emotional wounds, which happen just in your sacral chakra, just below your belly button.
Put those up again.
So we have the right.
Okay, look at that second one, the bigger one.
Yeah.
You are wearing the orange and I'm wearing the burgundy that's in there.
The purple. Yeah. There might be a little bit of burgundy in there. Yes. Where am I going?
At least in the camera, it looks like it's like a dark burgundy-ish with the orange and some white going through it. It's beautiful.
It could be. I'm not sure if it's really just a deep rust color or not, but it's okay because you've also got the spiritual color on. So there's times that we wear different things. Like you've got the crown chakra, and I've got the sacral chakra, the creativity and the spiritual today, right? And there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you want your message to be.
Yes. And it's funny because it took me a while to figure, what am I going to put on? I didn't know. I was like, what do I feel like? And then this one was tucked. I haven't worn this all season. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That's nice and cozy. That's the one. I had other things pulled out.
Color helps you ground too, right? So color helps with so many things. It helps you feel good. So there's so many things that we can get back to. But so what do you think, Betty? We're over an hour. So do you think it's time to say goodbye? And then
I think so. Did you read that, or did you just go through what and I actually highly recommend everyone go to watch Adventures in a Mate Suit. It was a round table with Joanne, the Dragon Lady, and JCK. And about a 40-minute mark, she does that.
And Mark Atwood.
Mark Atwood, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit is the channel.
Okay.
Watch that video because it was actually really good. And if you just want to do the thing that she did with the clearing.
About the 40-minute in.
It's about 40 minutes in. And he has it written out in the description. It's very powerful. And because, I like to give people solutions. And
it doesn't matter which way you clear. And you can clear so many different ways. It doesn't matter. It's going to take a little more away. Yeah.
It's just watch it. See if it resonates.
Yes.
And then do it. But it's just one more tool in your tool belt that you can pull out when you need it, or do it now because we've had that beautiful.
And we're going to need it. Energy. We're going to need it in the next little while as a lot of family energies come up to be cleared away, and a lot of just negative experiences come up one more time to be washed away, and let them go.
And May is going to be a wild month. You and I talked about it. I told you I watched Joni Patry with her Vedic astrology, and May is going to be turbulent.
Yes. I have a friend coming over today, and she goes, "Remind me what May and June, the next couple of months, are going to be like." And I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, it's going to be a shit.
I read her birthday. I did a tarot reading for her birthday, right? So it's like we're all up and down. Yeah. So, Teresa watched it. Yeah, Teresa's very up on a lot of things. Hey, Sandy. Thank you. Nice to see you could make it, Sandy. So we're going to, call it a day right now. And then we'll be back next week with more of this psychic clearing and protecting ourselves, and really stepping into our power and holding our own right now.
Yeah. And I think we'll talk, I think it would be good. I know we talked a little bit about it, but identifying it more. Like,
what do you want to identify more?
Well, we talked about how you did. I don't know, but I definitely want, let's think about it. I want to gather my thoughts, maybe watch this through again and see where we might have holes to plug to make sure people are aware of their psychic attacks, the chords, you know, creating protection. And really everything about protection is intention. Like Sandy said, find what resonates with you, what material it is, how far out it is. What is it doing? Is it blocking all negative energy? I actually, mine is now, we're coming, you know, into this Aquarius energy. I'm like, it's a boomerang for karma. Anybody who's sending anything negative, it's going right back to them. I don't even want to deal with it. My shield does. It's like, boom, back to you. I don't want to deal with you.
But we're not going to be able to do the I don't want to show people here how to do it on their own, because if there's another hook in there, we're gonna make it worse. So if people feel they have hooks, they should use a practitioner. That's just my personal opinion. But there's prayers you can do, an invocation. So this is one: protect yourself from the dark energies. But if you know what all the dark energies are, like the black magic, the spells, the hexes, the curses, the vexes, you can say this and not necessarily know what it is, but know it's tied to the English language. That's where the spells and the curses and how it's tied to AI and things like that, right?
Yep.
So
and
perfect.
Yeah, but and you, because everybody's different level of their spiritual journey. So some people can do it themselves. Some people won't be able to. It just depends.
And some people can. And I don't want to get that people start doing this on their own without knowing what to do, because I've seen dark energies. I've seen people walk in here and they thought they had something to clear and they go, it's gone. And then it waited for them on the front porch. Then I didn't do them any service. Then we had to figure out, okay, these guys are smart. So until people understand the energy, use a practitioner. There's dowsers. There's all kinds of people out here who clear dark energies, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, everybody,
for participating. I appreciate it. We'll be back next Friday, continuing from here.
There you go.
All right.
Have fun, everybody. Stay positive, and no matter what, know you've got this.
Yes. We're into May in a couple of days.
Tomorrow.
No, is it tomorrow or the next day? What day is it today?
Tomorrow. Today's the 30th. So if anybody who I've done a birthday reading for, the 12-month reading, and your birthday's maybe like on the 3rd of the month, plan for what you want for the month, for the next month, from the 3rd to the 2nd of June. So my birthday's on the 11th. So I'm going into a different energy on the 11th of May to the 10th of June. I know what energy I'm going into. So really plan. And if you've got crystals, create a grid for yourself and set the intention for whatever it is you want to have happen that day. If that makes sense. If you don't know how to do a grid, just fire me off a message, a private message somewhere, and I can give you some tools on how to do that, right? But call it in with the crystals and have fun and really connect with your vertical channel.
Yep. And just so you know, for Sandy's information, her YouTube channel and her website are in the description below. My other 2 channels are listed below. So I'm also on BitChute and Rumble. So this gets posted up there probably tomorrow. And then in my banner is my website, and you can reach me through there. There's a contact me form there if you want to reach out to me.
Yes, and my email is sandy@endinggloballoneliness.com. I'm not sure if that's on yours, but if you have any questions or you want any information, let me know. If I can help, I will. Thanks again, everyone, for participating. Really appreciate your showing up. Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.